All right, I'm here, live streaming for the first time. I'm new to this. Um, Joe, where you at? Hold on, let me get you the link. Hold on. Okay, Joe, are you able to join? I'm still new to this. Still learning. Still learning. All right, I have to figure out how to do this because I'm stupid.
lab-grown diamonds in designs inspired by nature.
Streamlabs Desktop is continuing to develop features to improve the lives of streamers and gamers, content creators like you and myself to take advantage of. One of those amazing features is Streamlabs Collab Cam, which is awesome for being able to add multiple different angles and perspectives of different people that you're playing with live on stream. So how do you set something like this up? Well, all you need to do is go to one of your scenes. I'm going to be in my gameplay window. Have your gameplay or capture card source already within your scene, and then make sure you also have your face cam in there as well. And then after that, just go ahead and select the plus button next to sources, and then you'll see an option for collab camera under general sources. Select that, add the source, you can name it whatever you like. I'm gonna add in a mystery name so I know who this scene is for. Then I'm gonna select add source, and then you're gonna see an invitation URL listed for you. This is the link that you're going to want to copy to send out to different people that you want to join your stream. If you have Streamlabs Prime, you can add up to 4 guests at a time. Below that, you'll see your webcam and microphone sources that can be selected for your guests to be able to see and hear you a part of this collab cam party. The share video source option to see and hear you a part of this collab cam party. The share video source option will allow you to share one of your video capture sources, which we'll see in action in just a second. All right, I'm gonna share my link to my homie, and we'll wait for him to join so we can game.
It's Creighton TV here. After clicking Midnight Man's collab cam link,
All right, we're actually doing this. I'm just waiting on my boy Joe to come on. So we'll just sit tight. All right, just waking. Sorry, not waiting. Cause I'm awake. I'm just waiting for my boy Joe. Going up. Gotta go to the bathroom. All right. Any luck? No. What's up? Where you at, man? You hear me? Are your settings turned on? Like, yeah, I don't know how it works on the other side. Do you activate your audio and video? That is weird. Oh, hey, I can see you now.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I don't know what went on there. Let's have a look on the.
Yeah, from what I was saying, the quality was not great because I'm literally streaming this off of a hotspot from my phone, so
Right.
not the best quality. I'm trying to. I wish there was other people watching it to give us feedback if it's good or not.
I'm just looking on YouTube now, see if we're on, and we'll go from there.
I think we are.
I don't know what went on there. Let's have a look on the. Yep, yep,
Oh, we're
we're
good.
there. Yeah.
Oh, we did it.
Hi everyone.
All
we,
right.
we talk about boomers and technology. Well,
Yes. This was, man, trying to figure this out. I felt like a boomer with all like I had to watch all the videos and then things just weren't working and then I had to troubleshoot a billion times like, oh, I needed to update this. Oh, this wasn't open when I tried to update it, so it just didn't work. I literally was giving me a headache, but we're here now. This is great.
yeah, all is well that ends well. We
Yes.
normally I just go on Skype or Zoom and just record, and I've never done any live streams or anything like that. I want to in the future, but yeah, it's looking it up and figuring out how to do it. But
Yeah, wait, turn off the stream when you're on YouTube because like we're still hearing the echoing of that.
oh, I've not got nothing on now.
You
I've not got any
sure?
other windows open or anything like that. No.
Is it mine? Oh, sorry, that was me. My bad. Oh boy. Man, this is just so embarrassing that we don't know how to use it.
Well, it's good speaking to you. Anyway, it's good to meet you, and yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having me on. Yeah, the invitation was originally the other way. I wanted you to come on my channel, but obviously you're still welcome to.
Yeah, no,
But
that'd be great. Yeah. So I guess the first thing, so I guess for reference, guys, Joe is a guy who commented on one of my videos that I posted about Orthodox Christianity that actually got a lot of people upset. But Joe is actually in the minority of people in the comments who viewed the video positively. So he asked if we could do a collaboration, and then we got in touch, and now we're here.
yeah, that was the
So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that was the first video that came up that I'd ever saw of yours, and then I really enjoyed what you both were saying, and it for
Yeah.
me it was refreshing to listen to because I thought I was the only one, and uh, and then when I looked on your channel and looked through your videos, it was just this treasure trove because
Hmm.
it you talk in depth with about movies and music. You do in depth album reviews, and it was refreshing to see a Christian channel. Is that are you a Christian channel, or you just happen to be a Christian?
Um,
And
I, I mean, I don't really know. I don't really think about that. I mean, I
it,
am,
it, it was nice hearing a
yeah,
couple of Christians just that was still in the real world.
yeah,
Because it seems like a lot of online content is very it, they don't always seem the most realistic of people,
yeah. That's
and
pretty true. I've talked about that in the streams. I don't know if you see the streams. I go on this YouTuber named Jeem. I don't know if you've
oh, I
seen
know
those.
Gene, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I go on his channel, and we kind of agree of just like the internet can be a useful tool, and it can be a great way to talk about, like for men to come together and talk about ideas, like we're doing right now. But it can't be your whole life, you know. And nowadays, it just seems like people like people that LARP on the internet as being from like we're maintaining traditions from 1,000 years ago, yet they're arguing on Discord for like 12 hours straight. That's not really maintaining the traditions, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I get the whole being in the world, but not of the world. But
Yeah.
we're born when we're born, and we're in the time we're in
whether you like it or not, and some things you have to just work with.
Yeah, I mean that's something that was taught to me when I was very little. Is God wants you to be born in the time that you're born in the place that you're born in, and in the family that you're born in. Like
Yeah.
as much as we might think, oh, I wish I was born here, or I wish I was born in that time, or maybe it would be cool to be born in the Middle Ages. I think it's just it's a healthier endeavor to just be happy that we live in the times that we do now. Because if we lived in the Middle Ages, we wouldn't be able to be doing what we're doing right now on the internet.
Yeah, and we should be using these tools for the best advantage that they can be.
Yeah. So I guess the first question I have is, how did you come across my channel?
You just popped up.
Really?
That video just came up. Yeah, and I like the title.
Yeah.
Who have I been watching? I mean,
I was going to ask
again.
Was there adjacent kind of similar YouTubers that you were watching? Or?
Well, you said you've streamed with Gene, and I've been following him for a couple of months now.
He's good. Yeah.
I went down the rabbit hole. There was obviously David Wood, and then Inspiring Philosophy. I follow. Then I was getting into film analysis, but finding people that saw things the way I did as well. So some people like Baselit Analyzer.
No, I'm not familiar.
You'll love him.
Okay.
Especially with what you're doing as well. Yeah, you'll love Baselit Analyzer, and I don't know. It just popped up, and it had an interesting title, and I listened to the whole thing, and went through it, and then I've just been working my way through them slowly but surely ever since. I listened to a Mastodon one the other day. I think he was talking about Blood Mountain. It seems like you're making your way for the whole catalogue.
Yeah, we did a couple of their albums. We did. We started out with what is it, Crack the Sky, and then we did Blood Mountain, and then I think we did one more, like the one with the hunter and the deer head. What was that one called? Is it just the hunter?
The hunter, yeah.
Yeah, we did those, and then we also did some Gojira. We did a ton of kind of. I guess
a couple of Metallica ones.
No, I don't think we did Metallica. We did. I guess in my eyes, what I would view as like fringe, kind of underground metal bands, I remember we did Deftones, and then we talked about. Man, a lot of them I can't even remember. It was so long ago. Yeah. So you're a big metal guy?
Yeah. So the channel started. I've been into metal pretty much since school. Spent my 20s in metal bands. Then in my 30s, started writing for magazines and websites. Then I was doing a joint podcast. So there was the Rock Show with Gully and Joe. Gully was my co-host, and he was the main guy. Really, I was he was the one that did all the technical stuff.
Okay.
And we had a podcast, and we even did a radio show for a little while, and then that fizzled out over time. And then I was watching loads of YouTube channels and just thought I could have a crack at it. And I've been doing Nightmare Cabin ever since.
And how long have you been on the channel?
Oh, blimey. I think must be about 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
Maybe 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I didn't start till I didn't post my first video, I think, till like 2021. Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, without looking it up, I wouldn't.
Yeah, my first video, it said it was 3 years ago. But I think it's 3 and then some, so I think it was in 2021 when I posted it. Yeah, no, and I've been kind of on and off here and there, but now I'm really trying to just make more videos. Really trying to get something going here with this channel. I really think I have a lot of good takes on things and whatnot. I mean, you recognize that, and I'm thankful for that. Um,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah, I mean, it's just interesting because like you're my first experience with someone who actually is like a fan, and he's like, hey, like, I actually want to do collaboration. Like I just haven't got that yet, you know?
I've been trying to reach out to different channels as well.
As did
Not having
I.
much success.
No.
But yeah, I find it's a bit. I don't know. It's I don't know if it's a numbers game on YouTube where they look at how many subscribers you've got and it's gauge whether it's worth their time. But I don't really worry about that. I really like your channel. Do you want to chat? Because that's how it was when I was interviewing bands. Really,
Yeah.
you sort of you set things up with different PR agents and stuff like that, and they give you bands that are on their roster. But in other ways, you know, you can just message them on Facebook and just go, I do this for that, or a YouTube channel. Can I book you for an interview? And you have about 70%, 70, 80% success rate just doing that.
Really.
So I kind of got burnt out with interviewing bands though. With the contacts that I've got, the ones I was able to reach, I've pretty much interviewed everyone who I wanted to interview. And it got to the point of I'm just asking the same question. I kind of covered everything I wanted to do. So now I'm trying to.
Really. Yeah, well, I must
But-
confess, I know you've viewed a lot of my channel, but I have actually not done my due diligence, and I have not watched anything.
You haven't?
No, and I'm very sorry. But,
So I'm.
yeah, okay. All right, we're fine. Yeah, so I guess, do you do these kind of videos on your channel, or how does that work? Do you do interviews, podcasts, and all that? Or is it more
I do the
your
occasional
reviews?
interview. Yeah, occasionally I do interviews, and what I generally do is invite people on, and I'd either do an album review myself, or I do a thing with a retrospective. So I go through a band's entire back catalogue
Yeah.
in one show. So that would be like an hour and a half show or whatever, depends on the band. And then I have guests on where, yeah, someone will either join me on a retrospective and or review an album or something like that. And I find that's better than an interview as such, because you've got something to talk about in the middle, and then the conversation can just go off on any tangent it wants to.
Yeah, I mean, that's how most of my podcasts are. I mean, we've attempted to structure them more around interviews and whatnot, but I don't know. I just like when the questions just kind of come up more naturally, you know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're doing right now, because I'm curious. Like you told me you were recently converted to Christianity.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what
In
were
fact,
you
if you
before
watch the channel from the beginning
that?
up
Oh,
until now, you'll see my conversion.
really? So what
Yeah,
were you before you were a Christian?
atheist.
Okay.
I was raised Catholic, so I went to a
Okay.
Catholic school as a kid. So I was baptized as a kid. Was baptized as a baby. Made my first Holy Communion, and then it kind of drifted away when I was in secondary school, and then into sort of adulthood, and then I suppose, yeah, in my 20s, I discovered, Hitchens and Dawkins, etc.
Yeah, I was gonna say your country, I think, was even more popular with atheism than here in America because of the big, like the Four Horsemen, right? Hitchens, Dawkins, and then you had there was like Ricky Gervais, like it just the pop culture
Stephen
stuff was,
Fry.
yeah, it was just really promoting the kind of secular atheism. Like I said, I think Britain was worse in that regard than here in America. What do you think?
Mm. Possibly so. Yeah, I wouldn't know about America, but yeah, it certainly took off here. I mean, Dawkins did, and Christopher Hitchens. I mean, it looked like they did a lot of stuff in America. They did a lot of tours and
That seems
whatnot.
right.
But
Yeah. Um. Yeah, but I just see like, and I mean, I've even looked at the numbers, like just the amount of people in the UK that go to church every Sunday is much less than here in America. I mean, I know the proportions are totally different because America is 330 million people, UK is what, like 50 million people or something like that.
Something like, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
getting worrying here. Actually, it is. Um, I was talking to someone at my church, and we were saying, like, come on, realistically, 10 years from now, unless something changes, it's just going to be you and me sitting in here. It's all old people.
Really, what kind of church do you go to?
I go to an Anglican church, but my personal, what denomination are you? I just say ecumenical because I'm not really. I've got I've got something to learn from all different aspects of it, and
Okay.
the
So there's different sects of Anglicanism, right?
yeah.
Right, because I've heard
The
it's
more you
quite
look into
crazy.
it, the more confusing it gets. So the church I go to is mainly I chose that church mainly down to location rather than anything else.
Okay. So have you ever thought about coming back to the Catholic Church? Like, are you open to it, or you pretty much set on an Anglican Church?
Um, I'm open to it, certainly not closed off to it. I'm just sort of following. I'll follow the truth wherever it takes me
Okay.
because you know, 5 years ago I was like you know a smug, arrogant atheist, and he says I've followed, like I say, I followed the truth wherever it's led me, and when it became, well, it looks like I'm a Christian then, doesn't it? Here
But
I am.
yeah,
It was one of those moments. I had a bit of a. It really came into fruition really
when did you really
and
start to get the ball rolling?
and uh, started to, and yeah, I kind of had a dark night of the soul, really. I mean, I don't know
Wow.
how much detail you want me to go into, but it was a gradual thing. But in hindsight, it was quite a quick gradual. It happened gradually in stages, but it was quite quick in a short amount of time, really. In hindsight,
Yeah.
so I started reading the Bible at the end of 2021. Around, I think I started in around October, November, and finished in February. And I just bought a Bible and just went, right, it's you and me now. And I read it from the beginning all the way through, so from Genesis to Revelation. Apparently, not a lot of people do that.
I've actually never
Um,
done that.
well, you've never read it all the way through.
No, I've read the Bible in bits and
I
pieces,
mean,
and
like, beginning to end, like, from the books in order.
no,
Apparently, people
I've
from
never
back
done
and
that.
forth. Oh, right.
Um,
So, yeah.
I mean, the
Um,
books are like in the Catholic Church, like over 3 years, I think. If you go to mass every Sunday, the whole Bible will be read to you
oh, right.
in
Okay. I
increments.
don't know.
And like I
Yeah.
know the stories. It's not like I'm familiar with the scriptures, not as much as other people. Like I think especially when it comes to eschatology, that's probably
Yeah.
something that if anybody's having a debate about that, I'm like, okay, this is not my field. I am just not familiar with that at all.
Yeah.
Um, maybe I should read the Book of Revelation, but well, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Like, think about it this way: it's like have you read the Bible? It's like similar to like, do you remember the first time you watched Star Wars? You know, like
Yeah.
it just kind of always was in your memory. You never,
Mm.
there was no point where you remember before the Bible and then after reading it, but just because growing up as a Christian, you just kind of, it's always with you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it was. I mean, there was always obviously familiar parts as well, but it was with all the noise and all the confusion. I just wanted to go right back to basics. Let's let's dive in, and
And
it was
have
a
you
good experience.
ever,
I'm glad I did it, and then I did it again a year later, and uh, and then from 2023 onwards, I've read it twice a year, and I got fascinated with all the different translations.
Yeah.
So I've been doing. Uh, I think I've done. Yeah, I think I'm on my sixth translation now. I did the NIV, the ESV, Doye Reams. That's the preferred translation of Catholics. Is that right?
Which one?
The Doye Reams.
I think that one you can read. The one
I'm
I
currently reading
always
this one as well.
the Knox version.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. I mean, there's a list you can see like in your local parish if you're Catholic. Like these are the acceptable versions. I think in like the English speaking world, the preferred version is the New American Standard, but I'm not entirely sure. I
Mm.
mean, the recommendation is actually the Vulgate, which is the Latin Bible. That's like the official Bible of the Catholic
That's
Church.
what the Doye Reams is translated from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because a lot of how we view biblical things here in the West come from that Saint Jerome Vulgate, right? And
Mm.
it's actually and it's funny because atheists actually use that as a way to like debunk the scriptures, and then it's all bunk, right? I actually didn't mean to say that like that, but because you know that there's tons of scribal errors
Mm.
when he was translating it. That's why you know the famous kind of motif of Moses with the horns.
Right.
Yeah, he's depicted like that with horns because of a mistranslation, right?
Right. Okay.
Which is pretty funny, but atheists like kind of sneer at that, and it's like, okay, how does that change anything? I don't. We think it's kind of funny, and it's a funny misunderstanding. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a unique part of the translation, you know. Um,
It's just fascinating how it's all come together, and they come up with these gotcha moments. It's like this is the most scrutinized text in history. Don't think you've not, you know. I even say it to some atheist friends, that it's like, look, anything you're saying to me, I've heard it before, I've said it before, you know.
because I used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. Like when you had your conversion, did you have like did you lose any friends or connections or family? Like did they cancel you or anything?
No, no. Well, there was a bit of a division anyway with my stance on things during the lockdown. So
Yeah. Okay.
a lot of people, I because there was things going on that it wasn't it wasn't things that you could agree to disagree on. It really was like a line in the sand moment for a lot of
Well,
things.
yeah, and I
And
heard and then again, I'm asking you because you're actually British, but several people told me that Britain and their lockdown restrictions was worse than here in America.
I think yours would have differed from state to state as well.
Well, that's right, because I think where I was, I live in Virginia, so I don't know, like our restrictions initially were annoying, but then I think after a little bit, like I didn't lose my job because of COVID. I could still work and like I could still do my everyday activities. It's just you can just wear a mask, right? So
Mm.
like a few weeks out after like we realized okay we need to lock down, it pretty much went back to normal. Just wear a mask. Restaurants
Yeah.
had to close down, but then eventually after a few months they reopened. But then I know the worst was like New York and then like California got hit really bad. It was like ghost
I
towns.
heard horror stories about New York. I mean, Australia was really bad as well. There was loads of
Yeah, especially bad. I
I mean,
heard
they were putting
Australia.
people in camps in Australia.
Yeah, it was
Um,
it was like totally
if you
authoritarian.
had like
Yeah.
a negative test or you didn't have a vaccine, they would put you in it. And it's like, oh, it's not a camp. There's Domino's here. You can, there's restaurant. Yeah, but can you leave? Well, can you leave? Right, it's a camp then, isn't it? You know. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
despicable what went on, and you saw all the politicians have just got away with it. They've all
Yeah.
left, all quit. They
Yeah.
is it Jada, the Prime Minister of New Zealand? So you've got people that have taken the vaccine and people haven't, and they're not allowed in certain spaces now. It's kind of like a divided society. And she's like, yeah, yeah, that's how it's meant to be, you know. And
Wow.
it's like they're admitting it, you
They
know.
know, yeah. Yeah.
Um, but with the, I mean, here it was like a, uh, you know, like the hall monitor in school, the busybody. The busybody was so empowered during that time. The person that likes to point out, excuse me, you can't put that there, you know. That
Yeah.
they loved it, you know. And there's one particular person that I know that it was just like the last straw. He posted on Facebook. Um, at the time, you couldn't mix with people that didn't weren't in your household or something. And there was a couple of guys outside, and they were shaving each other's heads, like doing each other's hair. And
Right.
he's like, and he took a photo of these people, um, you know, clipping each other's hair, and oh, look at the social distancing, la, 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 la. And people commented saying, like, I know those guys. Those guys live together. They're just outside.
Mm.
And it was like, that doesn't matter. I would rather catch COVID and die of it than be the type of person that pulls his camera out and takes a photo of someone and then posts it to,
Man, people were, I can imagine, it was just selling people out left and
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, what part of the UK are you located in?
I live in Essex, which is just outside of London.
Okay.
We
Yeah, because
we
I
don't
was
have a very
gonna.
good reputation.
Yeah, I was gonna guess because I've been more acquainted with different British accents because it's not just the one I learned as a dumb
Yeah.
American. Because I learned like okay, you got the Cockney accent and then you got the West Country accent and then you have the Scouse accent and the Mancunian accent and my personal favorite I love like the Cornish accent and the Devon.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love how they speak down there. Like, have you ever seen the show Poldark?
I've not seen that one. No, there's a few shows that are set in
Y-
Cornwall
Yeah,
and
so it's it,
Devon. And
it stars. Do you know the actor Aidan Turner? He plays one of the dwarves in the Hobbit movies.
right, yeah,
Yeah, one of Thorin's nephews. Yeah. So it takes place. So it's in Cornwall, but the show starts. It's a really interesting premise and setup. So the main character is he was a British soldier fighting in the American Revolution. And then you see the American Revolution from the British perspective, and so obviously the Brits lose, and then he has to go back to Cornwall, right? And so he's a nobleman, and his family thought that he was dead, but he comes back, and then it's oh no, the woman he was going to marry, she's actually engaged to his cousin now. So he has to deal with that. And also because they spent so much money in this war against America, well, the colonies, that is, now there's just stricken by poverty, right? There's just, it's just interesting because that's just a period in history that's seldom talked about, at least here in America. I don't know what it's like in
yeah. What's it
Britain.
called?
Poldark. Poldark.
All right, yeah. It looks familiar now. I recognise this actor.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, right. I'll have to check this out. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some other uh, good British shows. Obviously, Downton Abbey, I think, is excellent.
We we've always been pretty good with dramas, actually.
Yeah, I would say.
You see, for what it's become, does have a good catalogue of good drama. As is ITV. Really, we've always been pretty good at the low budget drama and pretty good at the period drama as well.
Yeah, and also comedy too, because actually, believe it or not, I lived in the UK when I was
All right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
lived in the UK when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Because my father, I think he had a job opportunity, but it didn't go through, so we moved back to America. I only lived there for like 4 months or something like that.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, so we lived in the Isle of Wight.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And so when we were there, obviously we couldn't watch. There was no streaming or anything, so we couldn't watch like American TV shows, right? So we had to just watch whatever was on there. And what we did watch, we really liked. My little sister, she really liked In the Night Garden. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, really lovely kids show, really cute. I like all the designs of the characters. Um, and then the comedy we liked was the Basil Brush stuff. That we still watch that to this day. We
Basil
think it's
Brush.
oh
Yeah.
yes, it's gut-bustingly hilarious.
I've got friends in there Isle of Wight as well, so yeah,
Really?
they'll watch this. So
Yeah, we lived in
shout
Cowes.
out to Helly and David. That's
What part
Brush.
of
God,
the
you're taking me back now.
what part of the Isle of Wight are your friends from? Because we lived in Cowes.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
Ride, I think it is.
It's very small. I mean, because you can
Yeah.
go around
You
the
can
whole
drive around
island.
in 3 hours, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I think the Brits have good comedy. And then one of the guys here was telling me about this show. I think it's called like the EastEnders. Is that what it's called? Yeah, he told me it's really goofy and it's really well
Yeah,
written.
it's a soap opera. So I think the longest running one's Coronation Street. That's set up in Manchester, and
Okay.
EastEnders is set in London. And the East End of London, and it's well, they say if it was realistic, all of the houses in it would be worth a fortune now. And, and
Oh,
but yeah,
man.
and you'll have a character die, and then a few years later come back, and turns out they faked their death, and for a while you'll watch it for the first time, and this person's this they were a couple, but now this person's with that person, and it's all swapped round, and they're having affairs, and
Oh man,
it's been going on since my mum used to say when she first had me, she'd be giving me my bottle and she'd be watching EastEnders because it just started around the same time I was a baby. So
Oh, really?
I think it's just had some anniversary.
How
episode.
old are you?
No.
Because I'm really bad with telling ages.
Oh, 40.
You're 40. Okay. So you were born in what, like
84.
1984. Wow. You were born in 1984, the year itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That story and like with the interactions of Winston and O'Brien are bone chilling in my opinion. I don't
Yeah.
know when's the last
Yeah.
time
I reread it again just recently with my son, and we did them back to back. Did 1984 and Brave New World, and well, we'll talk about 1984, but the sort of showdown in Brave New World is um, pretty profound as well.
I
Have you read
actually
Brave New World?
no, I never. I'm familiar with like the gist of the world, but I never actually read it. I need to because I know it's phenomenal.
Yeah, the two are interlocked. They're the opposite, but at the same time, they're the same. You know.
Oh, like
I
getting
think
at like the Masonic dualism and all that.
yeah, the I think they're bringing around Brave New World using 1984 tactics.
Okay. Well, yeah, because Brave New World is like the humans are like no longer born naturally. They're like made in test tubes, and
Yeah,
people take the just it's just oh take feel good pill, and then
Yeah.
people are just high all the time.
yeah. It's like it's a utopia. It's everyone lives in like this leisure center. They do a minimal amount of work. They and then just party and have sex with whoever they want to have sex with, and you know, you read it as in your early 20s, you're like, this sounds great. When do we join this?
Well,
But
I
then you
heard,
read it a bit like older, and you're like, oh my god, this is horrific. You know, this is a nightmare.
yeah,
But
well, I heard Island is Huxley's book that's like what he actually wants society to be.
I've not read The Island, yeah, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, apparently that is a really good one.
I heard of it, like I know I'm familiar
I
with
think
it
he did another one called
vicariously.
Demons or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. But Island I know is because like I said, I know it vicariously because like my brother explained the gist of the story to me. How like Brave New World is like what Huxley fears the world will become if it goes down that path, but Island is similar, but it's what he actually wants the world to be, which is basically everyone just like lives in an island paradise, and like the nuclear family isn't really a thing, right? And like it's like, have you ever seen City of God?
The Brazilian film.
Yeah, have you seen that?
Yeah. Yeah, a long
It's
time ago, but yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like that. Think of it like that, where it's like there's no sort of sense of anything of um like positive male role models, you know? Like it's just there's no distinction really between man and woman, right? There's no you can't see if any of these kids have like mothers or fathers or sometimes even brothers, you know? Like they're just everyone's just kind of like an individual, but then again they're really kind of indistinguishable from each other, and it's quite horrifying, you know.
Yeah. I think I was trying to think, someone summed it up quite well. Was in 1984, we're we're trapped by what we hate or what we fear, while in Brave New World we're trapped by what we love. So the people are trapped in Brave New World. They don't even realise they're in a prison.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's, even
I
if
knew
you
that.
if
Yeah.
you pointed it out to them, they wouldn't want to leave anyway. And but the so you got the sort of showdown at the end of 1984 between Winston and what's his name?
O'Brien.
O'Brien. And O'Brien explains it, like just maps it out for him, doesn't he? And yeah, but what about in that book? The book that is like, yeah, I wrote that.
Yeah,
I
no,
wrote that to trap people like, yeah.
yeah, or he said something
It's just
about
brutal. It's just yeah, and
yeah, it's just so like,
there is no
are
way
you
out.
serious? Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, no,
Brave New
and
World is like they wouldn't want to leave anyway. But
yeah,
in
yeah.
the same sort of thing, so the character in Brave New World goes to like the head. It's kind of like an O'Brien character, and yeah, like no one reads. So like, here's the thing. Like, so again, it's opposites.
Yeah.
1984, everything's banned. In Brave New World, no, they don't need to ban anything. No one reads.
Because like people lost the like, oh, another really good British movie. I love it is Children of Men. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yes, I've. Was it you that was talking about that? Yeah,
I have
I was listening
mentioned
to
it.
something where they talk about. Is that?
I've
not
mentioned
seen it.
on
Yeah.
videos, but I've never done a proper like analysis or podcast about it. So basically, the gist of the story is Clive Owen. He's the main character. He lives in this like uh, near future dystopian London. And what's actually really sad when you go back and watch it, it's like that actually is kind of what London is like now. You
Yeah.
know, with all the gangs, and it's just all of just like the you don't even like know, like it's just all of the mass immigration. Like I'm not anti-immigration per se, but just obviously to the levels it's at now, like people are like, all right, this
Yeah,
is too much.
no, I don't think any reasonable person's against immigration in and of itself.
Right.
But
It's
what we've
just
got
there
now
needs
is
to be.
it's not all. This isn't immigration. Like the, you know,
Oh,
they
yeah.
talk about diversity. If it's organic, then yeah. But this is mass coerced, enforced immigration.
Yeah, and also, well, okay, so I guess going back to the story,
Yeah.
hum
Sorry.
yeah, so humanity has lost the ability to reproduce, and
Right.
it's not really explained why, which I kind of like that. Um, so human beings just don't have any kids anymore, right? And so
That's similar to Brave New World, yeah.
right, and so this woman gives birth to, or she's pregnant with the last baby on the face of the earth. And then there's this group, like it's really interesting because it blends kind of like geopolitics and like weird um and also just politics in general with these weird like far left, far right kind of radical groups that like want to kill the baby and like they don't really know why. Like there's just these mindless, like the villains in the movie are just like these nameless, faceless just mobs, right, going after the baby. And so Clive Owen basically has to protect this woman and her baby and bring them to safety. And a lot of it's like a lot of chase scenes and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember seeing the poster for it. It looked to me just like a I thought it was like a war film or something like that. I never
No.
really took much interest in it, but I keep hearing it mentioned on different podcasts and stuff. So yeah, I'll have to add that to the never-ending list of films and books.
Yeah.
But,
But something that I really like about it is Alfonso Cuarón really has a talent for this. When I watched that movie, or when I watched it for the first time, that was the first time, and I can't even remember, probably since when I was a little kid, where watching a movie, I was just seeing all of the filmmaking and the special effects. I was like, how did he do that? I thought it looks real, but it can't be real. You know?
wasn't it one of the first films as well where they did the whole like one long shot thing as well?
Yeah, I kind of popularized that in movies.
Yeah.
Like he and Iñárritu, because they're inspired by. Have you seen Tarkovsky or any of his films?
No,
You never heard of Tarkovsky? He made some really famous movies. He's the Russian director. He made what is it called? Well, he made Andrei Rublev, which I've talked about. I had that movie. I talked about it in my Blu-ray collection. Andrei Rublev, and then Stalker. That's it.
Right.
Have you heard of that
Yeah,
one?
I'm not familiar with it. No.
Okay. Well, so he, when you watch his movies, you can see how he influenced directors like Alfonso Cuarón, Alejandro González Iñárritu with the kind of like just long takes that lets you kind of really let things sink in, you know. Um, and it honestly just the way the cinematography is in their movies, and like the way it's shot, the way it's filmed, the sequence of events, and even the dialogue, it feels probably the best thing I like about those two directors. Like, did you watch my Blu-ray collection video? I talked about how they're my two favorite
I saw it was posted the other day. It's in the it's again the watch later list. It just never goes down.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I don't know what it is that like if I see something that's interesting, but then I'll be hesitant to actually make the investment and watch it. Like I don't know, understand why we're like that. Why are our brains wired like that? You know?
I don't know, man. You can only process so much, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So so like where I was living with the COVID, it just I don't know, like it just got to a point where you just kind of forgot about it, you know, and you just kind of could like tune it out because they were just like, all right, just shut up and put on a mask, and it's like, okay, this is stupid, but it's not the worst thing in the world, so, and then you get on with your day. But
Well, what annoyed me was for the first 3 months they said if you wore a mask you're an idiot.
that's true. Yeah.
If you buy a mask, they need the masks for the hospitals. So you buying a mask is one box of masks that the hospitals can't get, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I had a conspiracy theory at one point because all of a sudden it's like don't wear a mask. They don't affect. They don't do anything. They don't work. And then overnight it was you have to wear a mask and you're spreading the disease if you don't wear one.
Yeah.
I think there was a shortage of masks to begin with. They couldn't get hold of any. And they were just like, get hold of masks as quick as you can. And I think they then ordered too many. So they had to sell them. So they
Yeah,
made it more mandatory, so everyone had to wear one. So that's how they got
perhaps.
rid of
Yeah.
the excess. But so I was thinking, no, why am I doing this? Why am I going along with it? We all know this is bullshit. And if you everyone that's going along with it is the reason why this could have stopped overnight if people just grew a backbone. And I really drew the line when it came to my kids when they started saying that well, no. What they started saying was when we pick the kids up from school, we've got to wear them. Yeah, we've got to wear them. I was like, but we're outside because that was the thing. You don't have to wear them when you're outside. It was like,
Right.
well,
And
we're standing outside the school, so why have we got to wear them? And that was.
oh
Do you
man.
mind if I swear? Um, I'll, that was my it line. That's where you just go, it. I don't care anymore.
No,
Do
I
what you
don't
want.
care if you curse
I'm not going
because I
along.
don't.
I'm not going along with this anymore. That was my F it line.
Was the school
And then,
thing? Okay.
yeah, it was with the schools, and then it was my eldest as well. He was going to have to wear one. I was just like, no, he's not. I sent an email to the head teacher. Never got a reply.
Right. I bet
The
they
longer
told
it went
you.
on, the more ridiculous it got. You know.
Right, because it's like if you don't wear a mask, then you're racist. You know. Right.
You're a Trump supporter, yeah.
You're right.
And
Oh man. Yeah. But oh man.
but yeah, I mean, I started looking into different things as well. They were calling you a conspiracy theorist and that. I suppose I did become sort of one for a while. But yeah, I came to a point of yeah, evil's real. Evil is a very real thing, and if evil's real, there has to be another side. There has to be.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's kind of
exactly. Yeah, that's
that's
right.
kind of where you know, there's no voting our way out of this. Only God can save us. That's where
Well, right, because evil is only it's only defined by what it isn't. Right. It's just a deviation or of the good or like a deprivation of the good. Right. Whereas good is just is and it subsists by itself. Because God doesn't need anything to sustain him. Like he just, I am who I am, as he says himself. You know.
yeah, it was something that made sense to me as well was when evil, happens. It's not the evil is bad, but it's the people around it and their reaction to it. That's the real story. And do you remember like that film, A Series of Unfortunate Events, when it comes to like the climax of that Jim Carrey's character?
I've heard of the thing, but I've never actually seen. I don't know what it's about.
He's kind of like this spooky evil character that keeps adopting the children to rob their inheritance, and he
Okay.
keeps turning up under different disguises,
Oh, okay.
and they're passed from person to person. These another relative has come out of the woodwork and he's going to adopt you, and it's this guy in disguise. Sorry, it gets to the showdown, and he goes, and they go, "You're a monster." He goes, "No, no, no! Don't call me a monster. I am what I am. You lot, you were the ones that went, that fobbed them off onto me every time. It was you that didn't listen to them when they tried telling you what was, and he sticks it all on them. It's a great little scene. But
I don't know
there
anything
was
about that.
something, I was watching a video and it summed it up brilliantly. It's like we always associate evil with darkness. Like evil is dark. And it's like, no, evil is actually very bright. But the thing is, when you see evil, you are obligated. You have to react to it and confront it. But people don't want to react to it and confront it. So they pretend it's not there. They pretend they can't see it. And evil becomes like the sun. You can't directly look at it. So as long as I can't see it, even though I know it's there, I don't have to do anything. And people get themselves into that they paint themselves into that corner. You know, and that was something
Well,
that
yeah.
occurred to me.
Atheists have a very similar worldview where like they still think that obviously because it's just emotions and their worldview is totally emotional. Like because they still view that there's bad things in the world, their goal is to just recognize that it's bad and just it's bad, and then you just feel better
Oh
about
yeah, I
yourself
mean,
because you have the correct opinion, you know.
yeah, like look at all the madness that's going on. You know, pick a subject, throw a dart at the wall, and we can talk about it. And you could go to the atheists, like, well, where are
Yeah.
you guys on this? Where's your facts, reason, and logic come from? You know, where is your facts, reason, and logic in this situation? Then it's not working, is it? You know,
Who the atheists?
yeah, that was another thing for me. It was like, you know, the modern world hasn't delivered on its promise, and the utopia that you guys promised hasn't arrived either. Like you know, not we all know atheists that will go on Facebook and they just congratulate themselves for being so clever every day.
It's
Yeah,
no, and it's
what we've been talking about for the last bit, they went along with that without questioning it. Most of them did.
yeah,
It's like,
no,
oh,
and
well, at
also
least I'm not religious. Yeah. Like you are religious. You're
very
going
much
outside and
so.
clapping for the NHS. You know, it's
Yeah, but I think the worst part about it is like how a lot of atheists now are like reversing their opinions, right? Like they're just like they want their cake and eat it too. Like Richard Dawkins, I remember like last year he said that he's a cultural Christian. It's like
yeah,
no,
yeah.
you don't get to do this after the
Welcome to the
fact,
hell
right?
you helped create, Richard. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember. I remember.
exactly. No, and when he said that, I'm like bullshit. Come
And
on.
he's been insulated from because the effects that he has had, he's been insulated from as well. It's been quite easy to to call for what he's been calling for when he's someone who's he's inherited quite a bit of land and he's only ever been in these Etonian university settings. He's not been at the street level where the rubber hits the road. And yeah,
Right.
it's like he's coming to the end of his life and he's having a look around thinking this isn't quite what I had in mind. But it's like, yeah, but
No, and that very well may be true. I just wish like he just admits like, hey, like I'm sorry, like I was
we've
wrong.
thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, we were. I mean, that was another
Yeah.
thing. Was like the world summed up quite nicely. Is Richard Dawkins in a sold out theatre is saying because there is less religious people in the world now ever recorded in history, therefore we are as humanity is in the best position it's ever been in. Like we are in the peak right now because there's less. It's like not 10 miles down the road from this theatre. BLM was basically just burning the place down to the ground. And it's like, well, there's the contrast.
Yeah,
This
just
is the
the
best it's ever
dichotomy.
been, and everything's, you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess in regards to Christopher Hitchens, I think he is. Well, I still think the arguments are still bad. I think he was a lot better than Dawkins. I think like he was more intelligent and he was more. I think he was more honest in my opinion because I think he said before he died like he wanted to believe he just didn't. He was just like I don't know, you know.
I think he had a good humour as well because I think he said that a lot of Christians
Yeah.
are writing to him saying that they're praying for him. He says, if I get better, it's going to be really annoying.
Yeah,
But,
he did have like I think he was more charismatic than Dawkins.
I personally think if he was still alive, he'd convert. He would have he'd go the other way and convert to Christianity.
Because his brother, I think, is a Christian.
Yeah, exactly. Just to piss his brother off, strictly for that reason. Because his brother's a Christian, and they did a debate, two of them.
Really?
And
Okay.
but yeah, I think just to annoy his brother, he would have. I don't know. I'd like to think he. I don't know. He was wrong about a lot of stuff though, Christopher.
Well, absolutely.
In
Yeah, I was gonna
hindsight,
say he doesn't get a get out of jail free card, but I guess just for what he was and taking into account all the atheists and whatnot and of like the new atheism, I think he was probably the better one. But then again, it's like
They haven't recovered from Christopher dying.
from
And
who?
when Christopher Hitchens died, that atheist scene hasn't had someone replace him. Like Richard Dawkins just prattles on the same quotes. There's no evidence.
Yeah, Sam Harris
And
does
now
the
he's
same thing.
lamenting
Yeah.
what England has become. You've got Sam Harris, who just makes an idiot out of himself on a daily basis at the moment. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw
He's terrible.
when he went on trigonometry.
Oh.
Even the hosts of that podcast, they tried saving him, and he just kept digging deeper and deeper.
Really?
And again, it's like, well, this is the leader of your movement, guys. Like, what are you doing about this? And
Yeah, does Ricky Gervais count as one of those new atheists? I mean, because he was just like a what is it, like a talk show host or something?
Well, he was a comedian.
A comedian, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in the, he doesn't write books about it, does it? But he does talk.
No, yeah, he just kind of makes comments, and he's a little bit more down to earth, I guess. Like, is that kind of what it is?
I guess so.
Yeah.
He's been pointing out a lot of he's been calling a lot of people out recently. I haven't seen his latest show or anything like that, but yeah, I think he just is what he is, Ricky Gervais. I don't think he's he points out certain things, but I wouldn't put him in. I wouldn't put him in that camp, but he's definitely got one foot in it. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, like I was saying earlier, I don't know about Britain, so I guess that's why I'm asking you. But in America, you can really see that there's been a resurgence in faith.
I've been saying this, yeah.
Yeah, like especially with men, right? Because ever since like the 70s to like the 2010s, women on average were attending church more than men, right? And I think C.S. Lewis wrote a quote. Sorry, like he wrote something about that, about how like church needs to be masculine because it's like we're getting together in the war room talking about the battle plans, right? And so and if men see church as kind of like a woman's affair, then like society just right, and that's literally what happened.
Yeah.
And then and so I looked at the statistics actually in 2024. The new atheism, because that's when it really, I think, now people are saying it's like officially dead. But last year it was like you could see it demonstrably. It had stopped, like the decline in church going and faith. It stopped, and not only did it level out, it went up by like 2%. And that's actually quite a lot when you think about it.
You said the thing about Bible sales have gone up 22% as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, but exactly. Yeah, like the church attendance is back. People just like there's been the resurgence in the last 2 years of like Christian YouTubers, really getting a footing, right? Because the thing about the internet back in the day, it was just so overpopulated with like the new atheists, the Redditors, and just kind of like there wasn't any kind of thing to offset that, right? There was no sort of Christian version of like all of these atheist YouTubers where there was big Christian voices, but like they weren't reaching to like a young audience.
Yeah, no, it's definitely coming back now. I think it's almost kind of, even if they're just adopting it to be ironic, just to go against like the woke teacher or something like that.
Right.
But I think it's just got to the point of like, right, you lot have more than had your say. Now you can have it, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are pointing out the inconsistency. It's like all you've got is a sarcastic line. You're not when you pull it apart, it gets a. You always see like the little clip, but you don't see the person answering. There's a guy called John Lennox who
Yeah. I know. Yeah, the
debated.
professor. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
you always see the clips of Christopher, but you never see his answer. But he speaks quite fondly of Christopher as well. Like you said, like although we debated, we was always friendly.
Yeah.
But I think again during the lockdowns, I was going on like protest marches, like the freedom marches in London, and they were amazing. They were, um, yeah, but when I'm at the end of my life, that is something I will look back on, and was so happy that I went on them, and I met so many good people,
Really.
and people that I'm friends with today, and during that time, like you'd be speaking to people, and they're also the same thing. They go like, I'm not normally political. I've never been on a protest before, but here I am because I'm just sick of this. And
Yeah.
and every time they would go, and I've started reading the Bible, And then you go, so have I.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
the amount of people I spoke to. That
Oh, so you really think Britain is having a comeback too, then?
I think something is waking people up. I've got a theory, which but the world went into a dark place, and it's said over and over again that when times are comfortable, people are less religious, and in a
Yeah.
stressful time, people do become more. And Christianity, the more it's persecuted and sort of oppressed, it kind of flourishes as well. That's always.
Well, yeah, because the more oppressed it is, the more martyrs hopefully there will be, and the martyrs sowed the seeds for the church. Right? You saw this in Europe, right? Like, why do you think that the church was just had such a strong foothold in Europe? Like, it was martyrs, and it also it captured the minds of people of all walks of life, and that's one of my favorite things about Christianity is that it appeals to every kind of person imaginable, right? It appeals to the king, it appeals to the peasant, right? It appeals to some dude in Alaska. It appeals to people from all continents, all social status, like anyone you think of can find something to relate to in Christianity.
Yeah, yeah, and again, I definitely think there's a revival going on. I think there's a whole new wave of new converts, but everyone and the church hasn't capitalized on it at all, because I think people were seeing as crazy as everything was getting, they would go to the church, and the priest has got a mask on. And can you sit over here and not sit there? A friend of mine actually went to a church, and because he refused to wear a mask, he had to go sit in the back on his own. And it's like when I made my confirmation last year, someone said that they didn't drink wine out of the cup anymore because they were worried about COVID. And like, it's the blood of Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
What
What about fear not? This is meant to be a house of, but they all closed, and most of them went along with it all. So you're finding a lot of Christians now, they're like, right, I believe in God, but I don't believe in this.
in the church, because it's very unconvincing. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, like here in Northern Virginia, we have like a really we have a really thriving traditional Catholic community, and for non-traditional Catholics too. Because I try not to distinguish them too much, because I like the Latin Mass, but like I really love it. But I'm fine with the new Mass too. I find great people in both masses. Yeah, I think the Catholicism here is really strong, and the diocese wanted to get rid of the holy water, right? Because that was, because of COVID. And then I remember the priest in the homily said that they're more concerned about the salvation of our bodies than our actual souls, you know?
Yeah.
And they kept the holy water in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, what is the ultimate thing that matters? Is it union with Christ and his church, or is it physical health, which is important, but is that really the ultimate goal, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people miss the point for sure.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I think like I said, generally speaking, like, I didn't lose my job. Like, did you? Like, how was that with your employment?
No, but I had quite a unique job. I have a job kind of similar to Homer Simpson. So
Oh, really?
I'm in a room with a bunch of screens, and I work on my own anyway.
Okay.
So there was pressure. It wasn't like they pressured you to take the you know the I don't want to
The
the
you know
certain things
what?
the algorithm picks up, but it was kind of like just a given that you had. Um, there was a thing about testing yourself before coming into the building, and you had to upload the results of your tests. I didn't go along with any of that.
Okay.
And I got a couple of emails saying, "Oh, you've not logged your,"
Yeah.
I just ignored them. Yeah, thankfully, I didn't get anything, but a lot of people did, you know, and a lot of people, they're seeing the effects of this, or saying that they didn't actually want to take it, but they said like my job was on the line. Now it would be easy. It's easy for some people to sort of beat their chest, but when you're up against, you know, it's try and have a bit of grace. It's
Yeah.
when you've got people depending on you.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was.
But I made the choice. I wasn't going to quit my job over it. I was going to wait for them to fire me. And when the pendulum swings the other way,
Yeah, where just everyone loses. You know, like the Spanish Civil War. It's just like everyone loses. Nobody wins. Like there's almost nothing good that comes out of this. Um, because yeah, it's just all these dilemmas of like yeah, well, I really like working here. They really like me, but it's just I need to get the vaccine. Is it worth it? No, it's just yeah, but actually,
yeah, that's not a dilemma anyone should have had. If that thing was as good as they said it was, you would have just took it. It would have sold itself, wouldn't it? You shouldn't have. If that thing was as good as they said it was, you shouldn't have had to have had your arm bent behind your back
yeah,
in order to get it. You shouldn't have been bribed to take it. With free donuts or
right, free donuts. Yeah, that was a big thing here in the States. But yeah, a lot of people who lost their jobs because they didn't want to get the vaccine, Trump actually put them back in, gave them their jobs
Yeah.
back, which was, I think, something that was very good. He's done a lot of good things so far. And we're very happy about. Yeah, well, I actually do need to get back to my wife because
Okay, man.
yeah, no, but we should definitely do another one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's stay in touch, and if you got an album or a film or book or whatever to talk about, I'd love to speak again. And
Yeah,
thanks
maybe
for
we
having
could
me on.
do Children of Men. That would actually be a really good one to do.
Yeah, all right, I'll be up for that. Definitely.
Yeah, and we had a grand total of 0 viewers. That's all right. We'll get there.
It'll grow with time, but yeah, no,
We will.
great meeting you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Joe.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great talking to you, man. I hope you have a good one.